T.O. The fins look real, you know it's a deal. There's blood, sweat, and tears all up in his huddle with water to cook up a meal. My coaching into it, the combo was chill. Play action to chase, got hunger to feel. The cheetah is loose, he's going for blood. The end of the race only went for the kill. Miami, the city, the county, the block. We steady impact, tail dead in the lot. Defense was strong and hard as a rock. Holland's a lock, and next one's a spot. Getting too hot, so turn up the fan. You look to the crowd, see Jimmy and Bam. Martin, Joe, and Sosa the mans. Your fellas, roll the clip, only fans.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to OnlyFans, a Dolphins postgame show presented by Sports with Soso. I'm your host, Joel, aka the Delusional Dolphin. And before we get this kicked off, we just want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, drop a like and leave a comment. And with me today, we're a little short-handed. It's just me and the boy So, the dynamic duo. What's going on, So?
A whole lot of nothing, man. You know, go out there on the West Coast for 2 dubs, come back empty-handed. Not what we wanted to see.
Not what we wanted to see at all, my man. Before we jump into this, though, I want to shout out all of the San Francisco 49ers fans that tuned in to last week's episode who may be watching this week's episode. And because there's somewhat of a pattern on some of these videos, I'm going to shout out all of the Los Angeles Charger fans that are watching this video that are going to dissect it and pull it apart. But this show isn't for you guys. We appreciate you guys watching, but this show isn't for you. The show's for Dolphins fans, right? So
that's correct. And even though we took a L today, dog, like, you know, we're still gonna break down exactly what happened and how it occurred and how we feel about it. You know what I mean? And to be honest, dog, I gotta tell you, I'm quite upset, man, because this was a must-win game for all intents and purposes, and you know, for us to come out like we did, completely flat on both sides of the ball, not really looking like we were up for this game, very like discouraging, dog. Very discouraging.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, especially now, you know, things are coming in bunches. We've had wins come in bunches and losses come in bunches. So
Right.
that's not something that we want to see. Something I want to point out, we got no Martin this week. Martin was actually out in LA for the game in person. Shout out to Martin, man. I wish we would have been able to get a dub. He was out there representing hard for the show and for the team. And we'll get some feedback from him hopefully next week. But yeah, man, let's get right into it. You said it, flat. You know, the Dolphins go down on the road for a second week, 23-17 to the Los Angeles Chargers. And it wasn't pretty, man. It wasn't pretty. Tua, this first half, you know, let's just go right into the first half. That first half, with the exception of one freak, you know, play that Tyreek Hill ended up being the beneficiary of, where Jeff Wilson fumbled it. Tyreek came out of it with the ball. Nobody knew what was going on, and he ran it in for a 60-something yard touchdown. Without that, we really don't have much going on in that first half. Tua wasn't looking good. We weren't running the ball much. We lost Jeff Wilson. Our O-line didn't look great. What did you think, man? What did you see in that first half?
The biggest thing that stuck out to me was zero catches for Jalen Waddle in the first half. You know what I mean? And he didn't make his first catch until, like, I believe the fourth quarter, earlier on in the fourth quarter. It just shows you how flat and like, you know, completely off rhythm we looked. And I don't know if it was because they were more physical, right, with our wide receivers. We saw, and the TV broadcast made a good emphasis of showing this, where they bumped and ran up on our guys a lot at the line of scrimmage. So it kind of affected the routes they were able to run, how quickly they were able to get off their line and get into their routes. And obviously Tua's timing was off, man. He was terrible in that first half, bro. 3 of 15, 25 yards. The whole offense as a total had like 55 yards, like, or 52 yards, something like that. That shit was just a terrible, terrible first half.
I mean, we can talk stats. Let's talk stats, and this isn't just for the first half. I mean, this continued because, again, with the exception of a bang play to Tyreek Hill in the second half, you know, we don't have much on the offensive side, and as a whole, I mean, we lost in pretty much every statistical category that I'm looking at here. First downs, 14 first downs to the 24 that the Chargers had. Total plays, they ran more plays than us. They controlled the clock. They had twice as many yards as us, 432 yards to our 219.
More importantly, red zone, 0 red zone opportunities for the Dolphins. Chargers in the first half were 2 of 4 and got away with 17 points in the first half to our 7, unlike you said, that freak play. And if it wasn't for Tyreek Hill being in the right position at the right time and having the speed to get around everybody and take it to the house.
Crazy. That play was so crazy.
Who knows what would have happened in the first half and how we would have looked, you know. I think this points out a lot of coaching things that need to be fixed, right? Mike McDaniel's play calling needs to be adjusted because we don't make any type of attempt to establish a run game. When you come out and your first three plays are three drop back and 5 yard, 7 yard drop backs trying to throw the ball downfield when the defense is expecting it, how else do you expect to build rhythm? You have to show the defense that you're willing to run the ball under any circumstance, even if they're going to stifle it. It's you can't even run play action like without that. So I don't know what they have to do. And on defense too, like if it wasn't for again the individual efforts, I tweeted it. Make sure you're following me during these Dolphin games. If it wasn't for the individual efforts on defense, this defense would look a lot worse. Chris Wilkins, Ziegler, Baker had some good tackles.
Jalen Phillips.
Phillips, an amazing game. If it isn't for these individual efforts, how good does this defense look? You know, I don't know.
I'm torn, honestly, when it comes to the defense. I know that's Martin's specialty. That's he loves to prop up that defense. And I want to bag on him because of the fact that we didn't win the game. We didn't get the stops that we needed, particularly a third down that I'm thinking of with like 7 minutes left in the game. We had flipped the field. Chargers are on their 10-yard line. We managed to get two good plays. It's like a 3rd and 5 situation, and we just couldn't get that stop. And they go all the way down, and they don't score. We end up walking away with the field goal. I mean, I'm looking at this right now, and they only had 6 points in the second half.
Yeah,
and considering we lost, we're still out a few guys. We didn't have Noah. We still don't have Byron Jones. We got Eric Rowe back, who made a big play, had a big sack on Herbert early on.
But he got hurt as well.
He got hurt, man. And then we didn't have that in the safety position. Herbert had a field day, bro. 39 for 51, 367. He was throwing it at will, honestly, wherever he wanted to. He was making some crazy plays. At the end of the game, he threw one pass to Keenan Allen that even left Keenan Allen with his jaw open. He was like, how did you get this ball into this spot where only I could catch it? It was ridiculous.
It was.
So that doesn't help me out, man, because of the fact that, I've been such a big fan of Tua and a big proponent. And a game like this, all those Tua haters and all those Herbert lovers are going to come out and say, told you guys, This was the guy. But again, 10 for 28, 145, and a touchdown for Tua wasn't fantastic, but it wasn't just him, man. I felt like a lot of that was that O-line. That O-line right there. I feel like Teron Armstead, didn't look like full form. I know he played coming back after he was missing a game, but he didn't look full form. He didn't look full speed. And then the rest of that O-line, man, just kind of looked a little bit lackluster, to be honest.
Yeah, they didn't look great today. And I get it. For Tua to have time to make the throws, he has to have some type of blocking. But all things considered, that he had time to make throws. And when you're 3 for 15 in the first half, that just shows you that you're not there for whatever reason. Mentally, this is 2 times that we see him start a game on the road, right, against a tough opponent, an opponent who's going to try to challenge him, and he falters. 2 of 6 on first downs. Like we mentioned, 0 red zone attempts for the offense. And it was like anytime that we needed something to get going, we couldn't get it going. And Tua was often either missing somebody or somebody was all up in his face and just disrupting the timing. And, even in the first drive of the fourth quarter, came down and first drive, had that intentional grounding pass, which set us back. Then we have the 3rd and long, trying to make an impossible play, and we can't even get close to a scoring drive. And I had texted you too, like, yo, we need to score here on this drive.
We needed it.
We don't know what's gonna happen in the rest of the game. First chance to get the ball in the fourth quarter, and you don't score. Sucks, man.
And then at the end of the game, man, I mean, there's still moments where we were still in the game. They were down there, inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line. I think there was a mishandle of the snap from Herbert. There was a fumble. We could have potentially got in there. Herbert puts his hands in there and gets the ball back. They end up walking away with a field goal. And then When we get the ball back, we take it down. Shout out to Jason Sanders for booting a nice 50+ yard field goal.
After
Um,
going 0-3
yes,
for
for 3.
50
They
plus.
were talking about it. I think that was the reverse curse. That's what they gave him there, which is good. I'll take a reverse curse.
We'll take it.
But man, we had a chance on an onside kick. The onside kick kicks. It ends up hitting this guy on the ankle.
Yep.
There's a scrap. There's a for it. And these guys end up walking out of the dog pile with the ball, and
Yep.
it's like, man, just a couple of plays, but even still, we shouldn't be in that position because we know what this team is capable of, and we know what we can do when we're shucking and jiving and grooving and moving the ball down the field. And we haven't done that for these last couple of weeks on the road, man. And it doesn't bode well going into Buffalo next week.
But you see, it pushes me to think like, what is causing this issue, right? Like, why are we looking like this? Is it Tua? Is it the play calling? Is it the guys on the field? Is it the sets or whatever? Like, I can't pinpoint it at this moment. Still have to look at some of the tape, but it's very disturbing to see a high-powered offense go from really kicking it in high gear and then coming back off a bye week, not really, like you said, jucking and jiving or really going full go. Houston game, we didn't really blow up, and then ever since then, it's like just haven't had the energy. And now when we look at the rest of the schedule coming up,
We know
it's
what it
very,
is.
we know what it is,
This
but
is
it's
crunch time.
it's
It
worrisome right
absolutely
now.
is. Now, we've gone from, okay, one loss, that San Francisco loss. Maybe that was what we needed to now, okay, we weren't able to bounce back and we're heading to a division rival, at their home. And that the way that we're playing right now, it doesn't look well. Granted, they didn't look great. The Bills didn't look too good today, even though they walked away with the victory.
Yeah.
But still, man, that's not what we want to see. We know our team is better than they've played these last 2 weeks. So it's
I
just
mean,
it's a
I
little
hope so.
concerning.
No, Joel. Is that for us to say right now with some type of certainty? We know that this team is elite, right? It's bullshit, to be honest. Because let's look at it this way. At first, it was the talk of, oh, this team might be Super Bowl, and I remember telling people like, yo, slow down. Like, we're not there. Like, this team obviously has issues, and this team obviously has O's. There's no way that we're a Super Bowl team. And now we're falling off the pace of the rest of the AFC, and that just shows me like maybe we are more middle of the pack in that range with the Cincinnati's, the Chargers, the Ravens that are kind of trying to
You got
sputter
to get the
without it.
Cincinnati fans upset, bro, calling them middle of the pack.
I'm just
They're the
saying
defending AFC champs.
I get that, you know what I mean, and he still got to battle because they beat the Browns today, but they still have to face the Baltimore Ravens and get that head of matchup and hope that Lamar doesn't come back in time. But regardless, my point being is that instead of being an elite team that we thought the Dolphins were in the NFL, we're looking like more of a middle of the pack team, a team that might make it if we can continue to be healthy and continue to make plays and all this stuff. But we don't have that no matter what on the road, down, up by 3, down by 10, they're going to win the game. We don't have that. There's only one team right now or two teams right now that are showing that in that AFC, Buffalo and Kansas City. Those are two teams that win big games consistently when they have to.
No, I disagree, man. I gotta cut you off there because I disagree. I think we are elite. I think this team,
Get the fuck out of here.
the way that they've played this year. So I mean, even with this loss, bro, we're still above 500. Something that is hard for a Dolphins team to muster up. And we've had great performances. We've beat good teams. We just ran into a buzzsaw that was the best defense in the NFL last week in the San Francisco 49ers on the road. And this week now, this was a tough game. It ended up being a one possession game when it was all said and done, and we didn't play our best. I'm thinking back to that Vikings game. I'm thinking back, to this game. A couple of these losses where it's like, damn, like we just kind of gave it away. We got beat. Don't get me wrong. They beat us at the end of the day. They won the game, but it's almost like we gave it up. We could have done a lot more. And to go back to who do we look at? Who do we point the finger at? Well, it's going to be Mike McDaniels. That's who I point the finger at because he's going to get all the praise when the Dolphins are winning and doing well. And he has been getting that praise. But when the Dolphins aren't being able to get ahead in games, or just put up points, or get into the red zone. To your credit, that's going to be on coach, man. You got to take the onus on you. A lot of stuff up the middle wasn't working. I was surprised I wasn't seeing more stuff towards the sidelines towards the end of the game. We're still going up the middle of the field to Waddle and to Sherfield, and it's like, I don't know if that's just
But Joel,
Tua making those reads, or if McDaniels is just that's all he's instilled in him.
what I'm saying is this: is like the elite teams don't have to worry about that. That's what I'm saying, right?
About
Because
they don't have to worry about what?
like the inconsistent play calling, winning against all the negative things happening in the game. Case in point, Buffalo today. They had an ugly game in the first half. Come up, turn it on in the second half, beat a good defensive team in the New York Jets, right? A team that we know we got to face soon.
Sure, their head coach has been with them for 5 years now.
5 years, and that experience shows where he's like,
Sure.
hey, I'm going out there and winning big games. We saw the Chiefs go out there and win big games. Baltimore on the road with a backup quarterback won a big game. You know what I mean?
All tenured coaches.
And now that we have a first-year head coach, right? How can we expect him to keep up with those teams at that level? That's an elite level. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he's there yet. He's learning on the job, and the same thing goes for Boyer on defense, right? Like, I think that his defensive scheme has taken us a huge step back, right? We've seen this defense regress in spite of all the great individual seasons that we're seeing from Wilkins, from Phillips. You know what I mean? Like we saw Howard get mossed today. Like, yeah, the injuries are a part of it, but the scheme itself, that 3rd and 17 play with the goal, and you play everybody in the fucking end zone, and you allow these guys to shorten that 4th and whatever. Those are things that I'm telling you, elite teams don't let happen. Buffalo doesn't let that happen because they're a great defensive team. Baltimore's not letting that happen. The Jets are like the teams that are winning or really favored to win the Super Bowl. They're not doing that. It happens to us. I don't know why, but it happens to us.
I mean, I got to give the defense credit again, man. Even though it was ugly and we let up plays that we shouldn't have let up as far as the secondary goes. 6 points in the second half. That's on the offensive side, man. We need to go out and we need to do more on the offensive side of the ball. But I agree to disagree, man. I think that this team still is special. We haven't seen a Dolphins team like this. Tyreek Hill, shout out to Tyreek, broke the single season franchise record for the Miami Dolphins for most receiving yards in a season. It came early on in the game. That's great and all, but he came out injured at the end of the day, and we didn't get the dub. So I'm sure Tyreek is, more upset about that than he is happy about that individual accolade.
For sure.
But I don't know, man. I'm torn. I'm with you. There's still a few games left, this season. We know the road ahead. We'll talk all about that Buffalo Bills game on Sports with Soso on Tuesday morning.
I got one more point to make for you, though.
Yeah, go for
it. Before we get towards the end of the show, I know you keep saying that this is the best team that we've seen. This is probably going to end up being the best Dolphins team that we've seen since you name it, right? This is probably going to be one of the best teams. But it still doesn't mean that this team has accomplished something or that this team is going to finish where we think it should finish. It's fair to say that right now because we've seen them lose 2 games back to back, have a win streak, like you said, be very inconsistent. Win streak, losing streak, win streak, losing streak. Now, hopefully that turns into a winning streak again, right? But that inconsistency is definitely an issue for us. And again, for a talented team, it sucks, man, because we expected a little bit more.
No, we definitely were expecting more. I was definitely expecting a win in this game right here, man. We needed it. This was definitely a must win. And next week is even more of a must win. I mean, we got to try to figure out a way to go into Buffalo and steal one from them
on a short week too, right? Like and they're having a short week too. Maybe that's not an excuse, but they were just playing at home, right? Like it's just easy for them to be ready. Now we got to come home, get our shit together, figure out what happened, assess, maybe not even really fully practice, and then hit the road to get ready for Buffalo on Saturday. Yeah, man.
It's going to be tough. One last thing I want to note, man, the NFL, you are super soft, and that penalty that they called on Jalen Phillips, I hope
Bullshit.
that referee gets fined for that bullshit call.
Yeah,
Because
man.
he stopped himself and everything from not putting his entire weight all over Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert, you're soft, dog. You're super soft. I hope you see this, and I want you to know that you're super soft for looking up like, oh, where's the flag? Yeah, you're
Yeah.
soft, bro.
Yeah, the NFL's
Anyways,
definitely gotten soft, dog.
we'll be back. So take us to our 3 and out.
Our 3 and out, man, presented to you by Empire Boutique. Check them out on Instagram, Empire BTQ. I got the drip right now, the Legion of Zoom with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And they didn't have it today, but my boy Steve got his drip, so check them out. This is where we bring you our bruh moment of the game and a loss, our underwhelming performance of the game, and also our aqua and orange lining, which is our silver lining for our upcoming Dolphins. Now, Joel, I'm gonna let you start with the bro moment of the game. What do you got?
I jumped the gun a little bit there, so it was that moment with Jalen Phillips.
Yeah,
Because right when we needed it, we got a huge play, and the referees just totally fucked us.
big time.
And if they're gonna do that, at least take us out to dinner. Buy us a drink first, something. They didn't even do that. They didn't have the courtesy, man,
Not even flowers, man. And
bruh.
and for real, and it was a real bro moment of the game because it changed the impact of the rest of the second half for the Dolphins and especially the defense. My bro moment of the game was Boyer, man, defensive coordinator Boyer calling that fucking 3rd and 17 defense, like everybody in the end zone. Let's try to protect this. Like if they were gonna go for the end zone. It really makes me sick when I see stupid play calling like that, especially using the defensive talents that we have, man. Yeah, that was a very bruh moment of the game. For me, the underwhelming performance of the game today was sorry, it's got to be you, Tua. I love you, buddy, but when you play bad, man. And when you make us look bad on national television, it makes it harder for us to defend you. So sorry, buddy. What do you got, Joel? Who's your underwhelming
No,
performance?
that's I got to jump the train with you, bro. 10 for 28, 145 yards and a touchdown, and he's lucky he didn't, have any balls picked off.
Facts.
I did give him I do got to give him props for tucking the ball and picking up some rushing yards. He had
Absolutely.
28 rushing yards on 3 attempts, with the longest being 14. So it's nice to know he's not afraid of getting hit. Moving the chains if he has to. But we need you to throw, and this game, man, you got outshine, man, and it's unfortunate.
For sure. And you know what? That's a fair point by you too, man. Saying that he does bring that dynamic to our team. Let's wrap it up with the aqua and orange lining. For me, is gonna be the quick turnaround. You know, get over these 2 losses quick. Focus all your energy on getting healthy and getting right for this Bills game, and really going focus the energy on going up there and getting the upset, man. Because without that, we ain't got shit for the rest of the season. Joel, what about you?
My aqua and orange lining is a spotted cat that runs really, really fast, bro. It's the fact that we have Tyreek Hill. Because without Tyreek Hill, this would have been 23-3.
Yeah,
And shout out to Tua because he threw a dime. But one other thing I got to note too. But yeah, my aqua and orange lining that's going to be Tyreek Hill. The fact that we have him. I mean, we
yes,
just
he is a beast, and he
we
did
need
break the record for
yeah.
most yards with like what another 4 games left, 5 games
Yeah,
left.
exactly. But man, something else
Beast.
that I forgot that I wanted to mention. I don't know what was going on in the stadium with the lighting situation or something, but like there was a couple balls that Tua threw where his receivers just totally lost it.
Yeah, that
Tyreek
was
on one
weird,
of them
right?
should have been a touchdown, and then late now in the game in the fourth
Waddle
quarter, Waddle. There was one that was perfectly thrown on the sideline, and Waddle just kind of like didn't know where the ball was. I don't know what's going on in that stadium. Hopefully Martin can give us some insight next week. We don't know. We'll have to wait and find
we
out.
gotta wait and see.
But yeah, next Saturday, we take on the Bills again. Tune in to Sports with Soso on Tuesday on all of your streaming platforms to go ahead and listen to that. Where we'll break down that Buffalo Bills game, and we'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. All that good stuff. We
Yes,
appreciate you
sir.
guys watching, and until next time, y'all.
Peace.
Peace.